getting the traffic flowing down the slow lane now, so hopefully we can get it cleared up here in a little bit.
Yeah,
31 Central, break for Alabama, motorcycle 28.
I have more than a few stories that I would like to tell about my motorcycle crash, but this is not what you might think. This is a story about repairing this top case on this motorcycle that probably hit this little rail here, and that's really the only damage this top case has. So I wanted to recycle it since I put so much effort into this case, building it. I really have grown attached to it, and it's a really good fit, so I would like to continue using it. So that's what this video is about. Well, I think it's a good day to be working on stuff. And as you can see, this is, as far as I can see, this is the only damage to the top case. So I'm guessing it hit something. My guess is it probably hit that cheese grater in the middle of the interstate. It hit maybe one of those bars, but it's kind of hard to tell. So what I'm planning on doing is pushing this metal shell out, banging this in place, and putting a replacement in here, some kind of aluminum, something along the lines of this old tag. And this looks like some kind of a brushed aluminum, but I think if I cut this properly, this will work out just fine. And you know, cutting and bending, and then maybe attaching it with some JB Weld, which is a miracle glue. It's like an epoxy. If you don't understand what JB Weld is, it's an epoxy you mix together. It has some metallic properties, and it's really good with heat. So I've glued engine cases back together back in the day, back when I couldn't afford another motorcycle. Well, hell, I can't afford other motorcycles anymore anyway. But before we get started, I'm going to head off all the questions that I'm going to get inevitably in the comments about, yeah, man, the box is beat up. Why don't you just go get a new one? And two answers to that. Number one, I'm broke. And I'm probably going to stay broke for the rest of my life. That's number one. Number two, I have put a lot of effort into this box, and I kind of want to take it with me. Even if I don't use it on my next bike, I kind of want to take this with me because I'm kind of proud of it. If you're not familiar with my highly modified top case, it's got a few features that I built in here. The first one I want to show you is this bottom basement thing that I made out of a road sign. I love old road signs. It actually has a cigarette lighter adapter on the inside, so I can plug things up and charge while I'm going down the road. Very, very efficient if you're like me and you're living on the road, or as I was back in the day, working on the road. And this top box is my design. This actually took me a little while to figure out how to do and build, but it's held up really well over thousands of miles. And this little device holds a laptop. So basically what I do is I put the laptop in the sleeve, put the the DC charger in there, and I close this up on my laptop, and it keeps it in there nice and pressed and tight and protected, apparently, even from 80+ mile-an-hour crashes. So I think I made a couple of videos on building this stuff. If you're interested, I'll put a link below. But let's get started on this thing. And first things first, let's pop this dent out and see what we can do with that. All right, some of the tools. Gonna start by prying out, and then we'll hammer back in. Like, I gotta hammer these edges in a little bit, but we start trying to get some of these and I'm probably going to break some of the plastic on the inside, but that's not a real concern right now. And just get on. Trying to get as much of the base out there as possible. And then we'll work on putting it back into place. And then the finish is going to come from that little piece of aluminum. So I'm just trying to get a rough relief of the dented sections, and then I'm going to start patching. Amazing body working tools that I have here. Seems like everything I own is rusted. Because I live in a rainforest. Yeah, so now all I got to really worry about now the main thing I got to worry about, period, is making this thing seal. So I may actually put some sealer around this. That was a whole lot faster than I had anticipated. So yeah, these things are hot. Anytime you cut metal, anytime you weld or cut metal, it's you get very hot, and then you can just pull the stickers right off, just like that. Yeah, I like aluminum tags for small repairs, and then for structural stuff, I like the big ass road signs. So let's see what I got here. And then I've kind of moved it into position now. I'm going to trim off some of the excess, which is here and here. And then I'm going to bend it all into place, and then I'm going to grind it all down and glue it all up with my favorite stuff. When I get close. I think this thing is kind of got a little warp in it like that. Let me see if I can straighten that out just a little bit. Just going to grind off a little bit more. Right here. And right here. That should look fine and dandy. So it looks like I'm pretty close. And that fits in there really nice. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but neither is the wound. But I think I'm going to call that close enough. And I think my JB Weld's going to bond to that just fine. And I may not have enough of the magic juice. Well, maybe I do. At least put one coat on it and set the damn thing in place. If nothing else, there we go. And it's good, if you've never used this stuff, it's good to use equal parts, which may be one of the hardest things to do. And this is the hardener epoxy end of it. And I think that is the metallic whatever base. I'm not sure how to explain it to you really. The other thing I like to make sure that I do is not only making a equal parts mixture, but mixing it up really good, which is a good reason why these things are different colors. Because you want to make sure that you got a good mixture. You want to make sure the compound and the hardener are really well mixed. That's going to be pretty close. You kind of always want a bit of a gray. Start out on the inside, just right around the edges, and see how much I can get on there without squishing it all out. And whatever I have left over, I'll go over on the top of everything. Because I do want to, the main thing is not to make it pretty, but to make a seal. I want a waterproof seal. And this case has always been waterproof because this case is the most important to be waterproof. Because this case contains, typically in the past has contained all my electronics, and it's very important that I keep my electronics dry. I don't know if anybody's ever said that to you, but keep your electronics dry. They last a whole lot longer that way. Yeah, I may need to come back in with another coat. Since it does not appear that I have a whole lot of this juice. And you know, with another coat, I can come back in and make it prettier. It's still going to be ugly. And then just any bit of extra I can get down here. I don't even think that. I think I'm just going to leave it just like that. It's so hot out here, it's already starting to dry out, so. And we'll come out here and check on this in a few minutes. Yeah, that's pretty ugly, but it's sealed up, so we'll see. I'm gonna give that about an hour to set up. We'll see what happens. I would think most of the water is going to come through right here at the seam, if there's any coming through. But I bet this thing is designed so that water pours out another channel, but I don't know. Question is, are we going to be able to tell once I open this thing up whether or not, let's see what the damage is here. I see no penetration. Yeah, I think that channel on the top pushes water out this channel, so I don't see any. Well, no, there's a little bit, but that could have been from me opening it up. Could have been from me doing that right there. So I'll tell you what, we can find out. By God, we can find out. I'm going to inundate once again. After wiping this mess up, I'm going to flood it again and then let it naturally run off, hopefully. Because I do need to find out if it's going to hold water. And I do need it to be flood proof. So in other words, what would be really great is if I ever drop this thing in a creek, which I have been known to cross a few. If I ever drop this thing in a creek, that it's not going to fill up with water. That's the bonus situation, but let's go ahead and do this once again. Let's do the biblical flood version. I mean, if it takes direct water and channels it somewhere else, I'm okay with that. What I'll do before I open it up this time is wipe it all down before I open it up, because that's always, you can always confound the experiment by adding variables like wet case being opened up, slinging water on the inside, which is, I think that's what's going on now, but we'll let it all run off here, giving another chance at Noah's flood. And you can see, by the way, that it dried up pretty quickly, and it's a hot day. All right, let's come wipe this thing down while leaning it forward. That way, hopefully we get rid of some of those variables. So, in my theory, leaning it forward might spill out some of the water that's hanging on the edge there. Well, actually, it's spilling out a lot of water, is it not? Yeah, that could easily be the water that's dripping in there. So, and I mean, you do have to be concerned about water dripping in when you open the case. But usually I just ride until it stops raining and get out of the... I'm not in a huge hurry to get into my case, 9 times out of 10. But let's see. Nothing. There is not a single drip in there. Not a single drip. So I would say mission accomplished. Very happy. Maybe I need to clean this up, make this look a little bit nicer. That way it doesn't look like an obvious repair. Get that grinder back out here, maybe clean that up a little bit. Or maybe I'll just leave it exactly like it is. Who am I trying to impress, right? All right, well, that's it for today.